Hello everybody and welcome back to Timberborn. Last time we left off in this drought right here, which has 26 days to go. Last time we improved our industry. We got this dam in place, which still has a bit of contaminated water in it, since the bad tide had some of that contaminated water pile up. And we got in this array of pumps and big water tanks over here. And we also got in all these hypertubes all over here. For now, they go from the starting area to the new river up here and to the housing district over here. Since we're in a drought right now, I'm going to have them pump up all of this water while building some Badwater pumps over here, since I want them to clean out this bad water from this area. The plan for today, I want to further expand our industry, maybe get some other reliable power source going, since I don't really like working with steam engines. And I also want to start moving some of these pumps out of here to make more room down here, while also improving our food industry in this area. I also want to increase our dam right here. For that I will have to rework this area over here as well, where we bumped down to last time. This is a water source, meaning this is where all of our water comes from right now. And I want to rework this so that I can control the height this water is coming at and if it's pressurized or not. And that will allow me to raise this dam up a bit more, while also improving our bad tide diversion system, since due to this blowing up, we've had bad water which got stored up in here, and that was the bad water which then went all the way through here and then got caught in here. We've taken out all of the water right here. I've had them just completely pull out this water, since water was the only thing I was worried about, but now we should be fine. I've run the numbers and we should be completely fine with 4.4k water. With 80 beavers, each taking 2.12 water per day, over the span of 23 days, we will need just above 3900 water, and we have 4.4k, so we can still leave these generators running as well, while also having some water over for these breeding pots. Let's also stop all of these pumps down here, and let's also get in a bad water pump in here, in this area. We also have 3 contaminated beavers now, so let's get down a decontamination pot, since we actually have the extract for these now. The problem is that our water down here seems to be contaminated enough to make beavers sick. That's why I've had this bad water pump placed in here. Let's also place another 2 down here, just to make this process a bit quicker. Oh wait, these need power. I forgot that. How much power do they need? They need 50 horsepower each. Okay, so let's move them up to here. With that, the first contamination pot is built and powered. Let's prioritize these by haulers, which should then allow our contaminated beavers to decontaminate themselves. I don't know how long it takes for them to decontaminate, since most of my playthroughs have been on the folktales, and they use medicine and not these pots, but we'll see how long it takes. I think 3 baths should be enough for now, and then I can work on more if needed. The bad water percentage in this water is also decreasing with all these bad pumps in, so that shouldn't be a problem. This area up here is also coming along quite nicely. The metal is still one that's mainly limiting us, but otherwise this will be done in this drought, I think. And with that we should be able to pile up enough water that we can then manually fill these water reservoirs if needed. Regarding our metal supply, another thing I would like to get going or get started is this mine over here. For that I need 2 things. I would need a bigger supply of treated wood planks, and I would need a lot of science, and of course also way over there. But I think laying down a tube down here shouldn't be too hard. Regarding the science, I will just have to wait, since right now I can't expand the population. And the treated wood plank goal is a goal I've set myself this episode anyway, with expanding our industry. Now, for expanding our industry, I want to get working on a project I've been planning over here. I want to tear down a good chunk of this up here, since I want to force this bed source open then, which is below here somewhere. this one. And then I can have water flowing through here constantly with the big water wheels applying power. So let's have them move in some dynamite over here to remove this cliff face. They've also finished up laying out this dynamite which we queued last episode. So we can have them explode this, and now we have full access to this Badwater diversion system over here. So to our water source and to this dam which lets the Badwater flow through here. Let's decommission these warehouses, since I don't need them anymore, and free up those builders to work on the other project. The decontamination pods have also been working quite nicely. Most of our sick beavers are already healed, and as we see, this water supply is looking much cleaner now, thanks to these deep water pumps. Our cassava storages are also completely filled up, so let's make a bit more way over here, and then get in a larger warehouse for the cassava. Now, while they are working on these projects up here, let's also start planning on this new Badwater diversion system. First up, I want to have a sensor in here, so let's get down a platform and a contamination sensor. Then, let's get down a pair of valves right here, which will be automated to only let out water if the contamination is below 5%. Otherwise, the water is going to flow up here and then through here. Let's have them demolish these dams. The last of our contaminated beavers is also healed now. So these pods have done their work. Let's pause them for now, so that they don't consume the extract and that they don't consume the horsepower. Though I think they won't consume it anyway if they are not in use, but I just wanna be sure. With 11 days left in the drought, our water is completely evaporated from here. We did pump it quite a bit up here and down here as well, so we didn't use this dam. The last two platforms for the last deep water pump are also being built over here, so in the next wet season we're going to have quite the array of pumps pumping. This will be 20 pumps running simultaneously up here alone, meaning that most of our population will have to work these pumps in the wet season, but I'm not even sure that we'll need most of these, and with these in, I'm pretty confident that I can just take out these ones and have them be manned up here only. Now we're scrapping the last scrap metal over here. There's only 27 left, so I'll have to be looking for the mines, and before that I'm also going to tear out these ruins properly. So let's continue preparing that. Let's continue getting in this tubeway, which we've started planning out. And I wanted to end over here. Let's just have it end at this wall somewhere. This spot looks pretty good actually. So let's have the tubeway end over here. Meaning I'll have some dynamite down here. This will be triple dynamite, so right here. And then let's just use some tunnels to get over there. This should function. Let's get down some access for these, and then we can get going. The resource limiting us right now is Badwater, since we're fully pumped out right here. Can't reach this anymore. And we've also pumped up all the Badwater down here. So this supplies the last we have for now, and that's just barely contaminated water in here. Regarding our storage capacity for the future, right now, up here alone, we have a capacity of 2.4, 4.8, 6, 8.4k water, so 8,400. Since in a 30-day drought, one beaver needs around 80 water with some buffer. Let's just divide that by 80. Which will get us a number of around 105 beavers we can sustain through a 30-day drought if we fill up all of these water tanks. That tells me that this water storage won't be enough, so I want to double this up as well. Really not important for now, it's just for future planning. We can also get in these tubeways we planned out last episode to have our builders work on something, since right now, without any Badwater, the dynamite and the extractions and the centrifuge isn't really coming along that much, which just holds all these projects involving dynamite. All the scrap has also been pulled out, so let's delete these scrappers and let's get over here and move in the route for the next ones. And with that, this area up here is done. We have all these PT water pumps in. The drought is also soon to be over, so we can then get our industry running again, since not having any bad water has been stalling us out quite a bit. I have quite a lot of viewers who don't have anything to do right now. That's actually pretty nice. So let's just unpause a few things. Let's get them back to working on some treatable planks manually, and I can use all this population that doesn't have anything to do in the good season, which is coming now, to have them pump the water. Let's prioritize them tearing out these dams so that we can raise this area up. Or actually, I don't have to raise this up at all. I could plug this up and have it be controlled by some fill valves, which only open up when there is a high contamination in this water. And that would allow me to raise this dam as high as I want. I think that'll be a plan for now. For that I'm going to need some automation. I will need a depth sensor at this dam to make sure that it doesn't overflow. So let's have that be built in right here. Let's also get the infrastructure in to have this dam be built a bit quicker. We already have a tube line in here. So I think blasting our way up over here could be helpful. To get up there, I think some stairways just this way should be plenty. Water is out, so let's just enable these water pumps, since it's still taking quite some time to rise over here, but we'll get there soon enough. And with that, all of these pumps are springing to life now, and this should then allow me to pause all of these pumps over here. The water is rising really slowly right now in this upper river. That just means that we are using up most of the CMS that the water source is giving us. So expanding this much further will lead to us pumping more than the water source can handle. Another reason for us to get going on this water seep. So let's cut this off from the bad water right now. And with that done, I can then worry about getting in some more pumps over here. The scrappers have also begun working on this lower room, which means we should have some iron running again. And then with this tubeway in, we'll have a tubeway station, which should shorten the commute for these workers, since this is quite the trip now. Now we have another drought approaching in 3 days. Let's hope we can fill up these water tanks as much as possible. Let's have them go up to 24-hour days and pump through. And I will also want to fix this situation, since right now I'm having it controlled by the river's max height, which just leads to this opening up and closing rapidly, since we're pumping out so much water. So let's fix this up. Okay, I've got it set up now. If the water falls below the threshold of 40 now, then it will start filling up this river until it reaches the 0.80, and then it will stop again. This should stop most of the sloshing. We have a 28-day drought. For 28 days with our close to 100 beavers, let's just calculate that, I am going to need 6,000 water, which I don't have right now, so I'm just going to have them keep pumping until this reservoir is empty, and we'll see if I have to adapt any more in this time. Now the pumping is paused, since we have used up all of our water supply in the water tank, but this should be big enough to last us for quite a while. Now let's get in the system over here. For that I'll need some 4x1 overhangs, and then some fill valves right here with impermeable flooring all the way through here. And we've finished up with the first batch of dynamite over here. So let's have them detonate this. And now we can start getting in another batch right here. Let's get it in a little bridge over to this side. And then we can also make them a way down into this pit, place down the dynamite. They've also been working down here, so we will be able to place down this tubeway in a second. And when this tube is finished, we can get in the tubeway station over here, which will then allow us to have these ruins a bit closer, but also to start working on this water seep. Let's connect up the tubeway through here, like this, and this will all connect to this tubeway station over there. Okay, the tubeway down here is also finished, leading up to the tubeway station, so it should be easier to gain our metal now. And I've also set up everything for this water seep over here. I'm just going to funnel it back into our upper river up here for now. I can change that later, but for now that will be helpful, since then we can start pumping sooner. I've set up a little diversion system over here with a contamination sensor and just 2 sets of fill valves, which either open up completely or close up completely, depending on if bad water is sensed or not. The biggest limiting factor right now in anything I'm building is our severe lack of metal blocks to be exact, since this smelter just isn't keeping up anymore. Even though it has a productivity of 83%, one just isn't enough anymore for all the tubeways we're building. So while getting over to this mine, I also want to get working on that. To get over to that mine, let's do a similar thing we have been doing and just build a tubeway to there to get something like this at the end. The drought has ended, so let's close this up again. You should have water now flowing back up to here. This dam is coming along quite nicely. And this system over here is also finished as soon as this ore gate is done. And these valves will then open up if our dam is full or there's any bad water contamination down at the source. And this should then completely alleviate all of our bad type problems. I'm going to leave these 4 filters in a backup for now, and I can just carry them out later on if I have to. I had the automation the wrong way around, so the gates were actually closed, so it took a day more to get the water in here, but now we should have gotten it. With that, the reavers are back on pumping duty, meaning that all these science huts are unstaffed now, but that's fine. We have a bad tide approaching, so this will be the test if our bad tide system is working. Okay. Our dam has filled up completely now, meaning we can see if our system works now. We're at 3.9, meaning we should see some water come out through here. Nice. Just as expected, every time we hit the 0.9, this gate hits. And now, with the bad tide incoming, these should close. Yeah, they're both closed. And then this one should open up completely. Nice. We have quite a supply of water, so this is looking pretty good. And I want to do one more thing. I want to change the condition my pumps will be working at, since I want to be able to regulate them based on the full state of the tank. And I think a bad tide is actually much easier now than a usual drought, since they are shorter and they also allow us to pump bad water during the drought, which helps out with our dynamite production. Since our industry district is still quite pitiful, it's taking quite a while, but I'm making all the progress I can with this power project over here. I then want to test some stuff in this canal, so I'm going to quarantine this off and place down another layer of reinforcement right here, so that I can experiment freely without running the risk of flooding my whole population with bad water. On that note, this little bad water diversion system is also working, so that also seems fine. Okay, this area is finished, so we can detonate this and this, and with that we have this canal opened up. So let's finish up this containment. Okay, we've got this safety measure in, and I've placed this in since I want to experiment with the flow from this a little bit. First up, I want to try blocking this off to see if I am allowed to do that or if it will spill. So let's have them get in here and build this. Okay, we got this dam in, meaning all the bad water is now flowing through here, and we don't have any spilling happening. Now, next up, I want to try forcing the bad water into a narrower tunnel over here, since that would then allow me to place down the large water wheels in these tunnels. To get access to these, let's just build some suspension bridges of some overhangs over here. Now the bad tide is over. It looks like we flushed out all the bad water, and now the good water is flowing through here again without any problem. And as it looks like I can actually do that, the water level doesn't seem to be rising if I just push it through a narrow gap, so let's have them do that along this whole stretch, like this. Okay, since our trees are running low, I've placed another forester up here with some storage nearby, which will then allow us to pile up some more logs. The levees in here are also coming along quite nicely, and I can plan out my layout for the larger water wheels now, like this. And then I can have some power running back here. But on the other hand, our water situation is looking really great. We have close to 10k water, so even in a 30-day drought, we should be completely fine. The crops up here are also saved now. It helps us out quite a lot, and we easily have enough water to run these fluid dumps a little. This project is coming along nicely as well, so let's work on this tubeway to the mining facility now. Oh, a mistake I did. Since this is going through water, we'll have a problem with water spilling out through here. I can fix it by deleting this out of here and getting 3 dynamite in here for now. So let's place some tubeways through here with impermeable floors on top. And then afterwards we can place in the tubeways that should then disconnect us out of this water. Okay, with this we are now cut off from here. There shouldn't be any water connection. We can see that this water is lower than this one. Now we can go in here, and now we can connect up this tubeway to here, and now they can build these tubeways from the inside. It's the last day of the drought, and even though we've been dumping water constantly, we still have over 6k water, so our water situation is finally looking good. The tubeway down here is coming along nicely. I have it connected up to this tubeway station now, meaning they can build it from the inside, and then we can work ourselves towards this underground ruin right here. Let's queue up our mine as well, since we were at this already. And with this finished, our metal shortage should be over after I get some smelters. The first of these powerways, of these water wheels, are also getting built, meaning our power situation should resolve itself as well. With the drought ending, we should see water coming through here again. We have another bad tide approaching, but the last one wasn't really any problem, and our tanks are also filled up quite nicely. With these first power wheels done, we can also see how much power we're getting from each one. Right now we're getting 650 horsepower from each, and since we have 6 of these, we'll get around 4000 horsepower, and we can always expand it. Another way to increase the throughput of our power wheels right here is to plug up this hole right here. So let's have them move in and place 2 levees right there. To reach that, let's just place down a bunch of platforms in that area. Right now I'm low on trees and on planks, but until this is finished, that will still take quite a while. I've opened this up to place a temporary tubeway down here, since it's been getting kind of annoying to do these tunnels one by one. I'm just going to place a tubeway down here and then forget about it. These water wheels have been quite the wood sink, since each of them takes 70 logs and 80 planks, so 150 wood in total. But as soon as they're done, our wood situation should be fine again. Now the tubeway station is finished, so they can work their way through this tunnel now. Now another thing I can finally do, I can tear out all of these pumps and also these tanks here, and clean up a little bit over here. And then I can place some more oaks in here for now. The last of the large power wheels is finished. We're now getting in the power shafts to connect them. Okay. This is also clogged up now, meaning this pump can be paused forever, since we won't have any more bad water in here, since everything is now flowing out here. This increased our power output per power wheel a little more, and now we have close to 5k power, which we'll have access to right here. Our little tubeway down here is also coming along quite nicely. They have 3 more tunnels to dug out, and then that's done. They were able to finish over here, so let's get a last double dynamite in here, and then it's just the tubeway that needs to get built. So let's detonate this, and then queue up this tubeway over here. We can also now destroy this other tube station, and for now we have this hole in here, but we can plug this up as soon as we get a dirt excavator. Our vertical power shaft up to here is also finished. I'm going to leave it like this for now, and then we'll have access to this power in the future by putting in a Badwater discharge over here. We'll then also be able to permanently open this up, which will then allow this power plant to run completely through all seasons. Right now our power will still be limited in the drought. They are working on this tubeway right now, and on the side they're also finishing this large tank. We have another drought project in 3 days, but we have almost 10k water stored up, and we still have some more time to fill this up. So I think we have a pretty good situation for this drought now. They've finished up the last of these large water tanks, so now we have 14 large water tanks over here, which should last us for the future, for the near future at least, if I don't want to expand our population in a big scale for now. So lastly, let's just finish up this tubeway. We are a few days into the drought. Our water situation is actually immaculate, so we have 11,000 water stored up. We still have a bit of water in this dam, but it will close now, meaning these pumps will pause shortly. There we go. And I have a lot of dropless beavers now. Get them working all these jobs. And with this tube finished, we can get this mine in place as soon as we have these resources, which we don't have for now, since our treated wood plank production is the most scarce thing I've ever seen. We also have a housing issue. I've had to place in some of these large row houses just somewhere, since these houses aren't enough anymore. But I think that's something for future me to solve. I think we have done quite enough in this episode. We've vastly increased our water storage and water pumping capacity. We've further unlocked more of this area up here. We built tubeways all around over here to this mine and in this direction. And we built this power plant, or the start of a power plant. Thank you all for watching. I hope you've had a great time, and I wish you all a great rest of your day, and bye bye.